Okay, so this is the hammock that I'm making for the Hanson's Point hang for the auction there. This is the same hammock. I made this once and I wasn't happy with the stitching, and so I made another one. But this is the same hammock, bug net, and Kevlar straps, and it weighs. I got to get a final weight on it, but around 11.5 ounces total with everything. And the bug net on this is a half bug net. There's I think the half wit and a few other different companies have made a bug net similar to this. Mine's just done a little different way. And the bug net is removable. This is it. It weighs a little over 2 ounces. And I'll show you how this clips on here. So it's got a hook on here, and there's a slide lock on the ridge line. And you just clip that on there. You can adjust this slide lock wherever you want it at, but that's just where I got it set up right now. It has cam snaps on here that attach it to the hammock. And these two on the end, to make sure you don't have the bug net right inside out, I reversed the cam snaps, the male and female part of the cam snaps on these, so they'll only go onto these two top cam snaps one way. That way you can't put it on backwards. Go ahead and take the rest of this out. To help with any possible gapping of the net between the snaps, I've made the snaps are up higher, the snaps up here, and the bottom of the net's down here, and that kind of closes in any gap that's in between the snaps there. Whoever ends up with this hammock, just kind of be careful the cam snaps the first couple times. It takes a little while for them to get loosened up, and first couple times you unsnap them, they're pretty tight. This material is pretty thin, and I put some gross gain ribbon back behind the cam snaps on the net to try to keep from ripping that. Reinforce it some. But after you've snapped and unsnapped them a couple times, they'll loosen up and be easier to use. And of course, you can leave this on if you wanted to. Just leave it on all the time or whatever. So like the other bug nets of this style, the idea is to save weight. If you're going to be using a sleeping bag down here and everything, it's going to be protecting your legs. So there's really no sense in wasting extra weight of material to do that. And this material down here will just drape over your sleeping bag. I'll show you a view from the inside here in a minute. And so this is how it looks set up. The material on the bottom, the hammock itself is 1.0 Hyper D, and the bug net is 0.5 ounce Noseeum netting. what I've done is I don't do a lot of lightweight stuff. No reason, I just haven't had a lot of orders for it. So I don't have any Kevlar material or anything like that, or Dyneema, except for this pair I just use for demonstrating stuff. Um, so I asked Autumn from Autumn Ultralight to make a set. I bought a set of Kevlar straps from her, and I usually try to suggest to people that are going to order a hammock from us to call us or chat with us online or something, have some kind of communication, because a lot of times there's stuff that you might not think of when you're ordering a hammock, that maybe in that conversation you might be able to get worked out. Like this, for example, when I ordered these straps from Autumn, she asked me what color the hammock was going to be, and I told her, so she asked if I wanted blue stitching on it to match the hammock. That's something I didn't even think about until I talked to her. So that's the reason I always try to get people, our customers, to talk to us for a minute before they order the hammock. That way we make sure to get everything right. But these are two 12-foot Kevlar straps that'll go with this. The weather's been really bad, and I had to do this inside. I couldn't wait any longer for the weather to get better. So I've got my straps tied up on this turtle dog stand. I didn't want to, even if I was on a tree or whatever, I try not to use the customer straps. That way they're brand new when they get them. And so that's it for now. I'll get inside of it, get the camera inside of it and show you what the inside and other little features. So what we've done up top is have Beckett loops on here. These my wife made these Beckett loops, but the design came from Autumn, the same place we got the straps from Autumn Ultralight. But my wife made them, and they're designed so that when you're untying it, you can pull on this loop, and it's easier to get the Beckett hitch untied. And the way we did it is we got blue and gray kind of going throughout the hammock. So this is the head end. The head end Beckett loop is blue and gray, and it comes down. That's a 7/64 am steel. Comes down to some zinget for the ridge line, and the hammock itself has got gray threading on it, and got the cam snaps down there through that. And when you come down to the other end down here, it has a solid gray Beckett loop on it. So so the head end is blue and gray, and then the foot end is just solid gray for the Beckett loops, so you'll be able to tell the difference. And this attaches. It's got this little loop here. Hook. That's how you hook up the bugnet here. And there's a drawstring in here. I'll show you a little bit better when we bring it inside. And this is the slide lock here, so you can just adjust it wherever you want. And then you can bring, if you want to, you can bring the hammock up closer out of the way, or you can bring it back out here tight, or however you want to do it. And now I'll show you the view from the inside, and show you what I've done there. And before I get the camera all the way in there, you kind of see how the bugnet overlaps the edge of the material. And once I get in there, I'll show you a little bit better. You'll be able to see it a little bit better. Okay, before I get in there, see all this material here. And when you're trying to get in, you could be sitting on it, and then pulling on it, maybe ripping something or whatever, kind of fighting with it to get it out of your way and everything. So what I've done is I put the stuff sack for this bugnet is sewn in right here, and I'll show you how I did that to make it a little bit easier to get in and out. Okay, so what I've done is you can see the stuff sack right there, and did that for a couple reasons. One of the reasons I did that is so you could take this and put it inside the stuff sack here, get it out of the way. Now, as you can see, that makes it easier when you're sitting inside of it. You've kind of got that hole there. It's out of the way, and you can sit in there. Plus, you could take this and slide it out of the way, and then now you got a lot more room to get in and out of the hammock. So whenever you go to sit down, it's completely out of your way. So the way it looks is, and then now you've got this big opening, and you could just slide back in there and get in. I'm going to take the camera with me though. So. Okay, so now I'm in here. I can just take this out of the stuff sack. It's hard to do one-handed. There, it's pulling it the wrong way. So now in here, you have this draw cord, and you can grab it and squeeze it down, and you can lower the hammock down. And then, and now that can kind of give you a little bit extra length on the foot end, but for the most part, you'll probably end up having it up all the time. And I can't do it one-handed, so hang on a sec. Okay, so now that's up out of the way. The stuff sack, I figured the stuff sack would do two things. First of all, you can you can get all this net out of the way when you're getting in and out, and then also you could put because this net's underneath the ridgeline, you can't really have like a ridgeline organizer there or something. So at least you could have your headlamp or flashlight, you could put it down inside of here. And it would have been easier to make the stuff sack facing towards you, so you could just drop your light in. But to be able to put the net in to get it out of your way, it's easier if it's facing towards the foot end of the hammock. So that's why I did that. But yeah, you got your net there, and I loosened up this slide lock thing, and I got the hammock's too tight, or too loose. There. Now it's nice and tight. And I can get in here. Got the net. Oh, I don't know if you can see. There's the net along the side. And I'll take the, I'm going to turn the camera around so you can see what it's like inside here. Okay, so as you can see, the net's off. I mean, I got room up there above it, plenty of room up here. The net's nice and snug all the way up through here on both sides. Nice and snug. And you can still, if you want to reach through there, you can get your hand through there, but the net itself kind of overlaps and hangs down, and it seals up pretty good on the outside. So that's pretty nice. And then you got all your room. The bug net's way up above you. Plenty of room to move around inside here and everything, and it works out pretty good. And then when you flip to the other side, you have all this net down here that would be over the sleeping bag. This is my knee up here. Have all this room up here. I mean, all this net here, and it seals down nice and tight. There's enough of it there to seal down nice and tight over what your sleeping bag and everything. So yeah, as far as making a net that's lightweight and everything, I think it's done pretty good. Um, and I wanted to make it removable. I'll show you what I was talking about with that. Oh, and before I get out, I you can get in and out without doing putting this in a stuff sack, but with both hands, it only takes a second to shove some of the net in there to make it easier to get in and out. And I'll show you. I mean, so I'm gonna do that now, but I can't do it with one hand. Okay, and you can see along the outside edges up through the side there that it's sealing, and it would be hard for a bug to get in and out. In between the mesh and the hammock and everything, it's sealed up pretty tight when you're in here, and even when you're not in here, it seals up pretty tight. So, just wanted to give you a look at that before I got out of the hammock. Okay, so that's it. Like I said, this bug net you can leave off, or you can leave it on, or you can take it off and on whenever you want to. If you don't want to use it, if you don't want the extra 2 ounces or whatever, it's cool weather, you don't need the bugs or whatever. It's got 12-foot Kevlar straps made by Autumn Ultralight. And one thing you could do, I didn't build a ridgeline organizer. Normally I do, but because the idea of this hammock is that I'm trying to save weight. So one thing you could do for a ridgeline organizer is just take this, loop it over like that, and you can put stuff down in here, or you could do the other end too, and have it hang like that. That way you're not carrying any extra weight of the ridgeline organizer and stuff like that. So that's it. Like I said, this just comes off. Just got this mitten hook, take it off, and you take the whole net off. And be careful with the cam snaps. Like I said, the first couple times are really, really tight, and you don't want to get carried away with it and rip anything. They'll loosen up pretty quick. I've had it off twice now, and they'll start loosening up. So just to go over everything to make sure I didn't forget anything, the weight is around 11.5 ounces, and I'm going to put the exact weight in the description of the video. The bug net itself, by itself, weighs 2.30 ounces, I think. So to go over everything, it's a 1.0 Hyper D, 0.5 Noseeum mesh netting. We've got the Kevlar straps, Beckett loops for the continuous loops are 7/64. I got Zing It for the ridge line. The weight limit on this hammock fabric is 200 pounds. So the Zing It and the 7/64 loops will be plenty. The stuff sack is in here, and like I said, I put the stuff sack in here so that you could use it to stick your flashlight or your phone or something. So it's up out of the way and you know where it's at when it's dark. This you can slide anywhere you need it to get the tension right. Blue and gray Beckett loop on the head end, gray end on the foot end. That's it. I built this when I was going to build a hammock for the auction. I was thinking about doing something like I don't know if you can see me, you can probably just see, but when I was building this hammock, I thought about building a hammock with a lot of features and making it, maybe a zip-on bugnet or whatever I could do to try to show the kind of stuff that we can build. But I was thinking that a lot of the group hangs, tend to be closer to the parking area where it's not a very far walk and everything to get from your car to where you're going to camp at. But this hang in Hans's Point's a couple miles up to the campsite, So, and because of the area in Red River Gorge and everything, I figured that a lot of people that go to this hang would be more the backpacking crowd, more the ounces equals pounds and pounds equals pain kind of mindset. So that's why I just decided I would just try to make it really light and concentrate on that. And this net is something I've been wanting to do. Some of the other nets that I've seen, I didn't think they kind of wrap around the hammock to some extent, but they're still underneath the ridge line. So the only way, I've only seen pictures of them or video, and the only way I could think that you could take them off would be to have to take the ridge line apart from the continuous loop and then slide the bug net off and put it back together. That, like I said, I'm not sure, but if that's the case, I wanted to do something that would be easier to take off and on. So that's why I did it this way. And so that was it. It's a really simple, basic hammock. No thrills. It was just all about saving weight. I could have saved some weight by not putting the we're talking about grams and everything. I could have saved some weight by using Dynaglide instead of 7/64 am steel. I haven't really worked with that stuff. They say it's pretty strong, but I don't know. I don't have enough experience with it to trust it. If whoever wins this hammock, they want to go even lighter and they want to do something like that, there's lots of places you can get the Dynaglide loops made and everything, and lightweight stuff. So that's it. I hope whoever wins it enjoys it, and hope to see you all out there at the camp out.